ขอต้อนรับทุกท่านนะคะได้เข้าสู่ Plenary Stage ในช่วงบ่ายนะคะกับปรากฏการณ์ Symposium ด้านความยั่งยืนแห่งปีนะคะในงาน GC Sustainable Living Symposium 2024 Gen S Gathering นั่นเองนะคะดิฉันสวัยฉัตรกุลชรนิตยาชีวแพทย์ค่ะรับหน้าที่เป็นผู้ดำเนินรายการแล้วก็ต้องถือโอกาสนี้สวัสดีทุกท่านนะคะที่กำลังรับชมผ่าน YouTube ของ GC อีกด้วยนะคะเมื่อช่วงเช้าที่ผ่านมาค่ะเราก็ได้รับฟังกันไปแล้วนะคะเห็นถึง Global Sustainability Landscape ค่ะแล้วก็การเร่งขับเคลื่อนของทั้งภาครัฐภาคเอกชนในการร่วมกันแก้ไขปัญหาเร่งด่วนที่จะช่วยกันสร้างแรงกระเพื่อมโอกาสที่ทุกๆคนค่ะสามารถที่จะเรียนรู้ปรับใช้และแนวโน้มความสำเร็จในระดับโลกเพื่อมุ่งสู่เป้าหมาย Net Zero ในอนาคตนะคะดังนั้นการเสวนาในช่วงบ่ายจากนี้ไปค่ะเราจะมาเสริมสร้างความเข้าใจและแรงบันดาลใจในการนำเอาแนวความคิดความยั่งยืนไปใช้ในธุรกิจอย่างมีประสิทธิภาพเพิ่มโอกาสทางธุรกิจและการนำนวัตกรรมมาใช้เพื่อสร้างความยั่งยืนในระยะยาวการนำเสนอโซลูชันที่สามารถลดผลกระทบต่อสิ่งแวดล้อมไปพร้อมๆกับการสร้างคุณค่าให้กับทั้งองค์กรและสังคมตลอดจนแบ่งปันกรณีศึกษาที่ประสบความสำเร็จและแนวทางการปฏิบัติที่ดีที่สุดในการดำเนินธุรกิจอย่างยั่งยืนอีกด้วยนะคะเซสชันแรกนี้มาในหัวข้อที่มีชื่อว่า Packaging for the Sustainable Future ค่ะแนวทางการออกแบบและการสร้างสรรค์วัสดุที่ช่วยลดผลกระทบต่อสิ่งแวดล้อมผ่านมุมมองของผู้บริหารระดับสูงจาก3บริษัทชั้นนำด้านนวัตกรรมบรรจุภัณฑ์ระดับโลกนะคะดังนั้นดิฉันขออนุญาตดำเนินรายการเป็นภาษาอังกฤษนะคะแต่เราก็ได้จัดเตรียมหูฟังสำหรับภาคภาษาไทยไว้ที่บริเวณด้านหน้าห้องจัดงานนะคะสามารถไปรับกันได้ค่ะ I will be conducting the first session in English. Now for those who require the Thai translation, headsets are available at the front of the meeting room for your convenience. Now we would like to invite the following speakers to join the panel discussion and share their insights and experiences in the session Packaging for the Sustainable Future. This session will highlight innovations from leading global packaging companies including NatureWorks, Interface Polymers, and King Yuan Fu Packaging Company Limited. So first, may I invite on the stage Mr. Eric Ripple, President and CEO NatureWorks, as well as Mr. Ross Baglin, CEO Interface Polymers. And please also welcome Mr. Benjamin Guo, General Manager and CSO King Yuan Fu Packaging Company Limited. Swadika, please have a seat and welcome to GC Sustainable Living Symposium 2024. So we're talking about sustainable packaging. I would like to start with this first question for Kun Eric, is that how can innovative solutions and collaborative efforts from global leaders drive low carbon initiatives and sustainable strategies?
Great, thank you. Thank you for being here this afternoon. It's my honor to be on the panel today. As mentioned, I work for NatureWorks, and there we go. So the innovative solution that was developed by NatureWorks is polylactic acid that we call PLA, and that is made from sugar, and that sugar can come from a number of sources. Currently, we make it from corn in the USA, and we are building a plant here in Thailand in Nakhon Sawan that makes it from sugarcane. And so we take that sugar, we ferment it to lactic acid, and then we make polylactic acid from that. And the benefit of this innovation is that first, that it's bio-based, so it comes from a sustainable source. And then secondly, it's compostable, biodegradable, and also recyclable. So the innovation is a polymer that can substitute for a lot of polymers in many applications. Today, we'll be talking about packaging applications and the benefits for that with polylactic acid. And so this product was developed about over 20 years ago originally by Cargill, and then that became, they named the company NatureWorks after they created the polymer. And initially, we worked with converters and brand owners to develop applications that you see on the slide here. And with great customers like KYF, with Benjamin that's here today, we're very thankful to have him here today. We worked with companies like KYF to develop these applications that you see on the picture. And then as time moved along, we continued to innovate, and we used other polymers that were, we made copolymer solutions. And an example of that is GC that makes PBS can be used as a copolymer. Other copolymers include PBAT, PCL. There are a number of solutions out there that can be used in conjunction with PLA to add other benefits and features to the product. So we continued to innovate over the years and worked with our partners to develop those solutions. The other partner that we had along the way is the government. And so we partnered with the government to help them achieve the sustainability goals that the governments want to achieve for their countries, and offer this as a solution, as a low carbon solution to help achieve carbon neutrality or net zero goals for a country and for companies that are looking for sustainable solutions. And so, as time went along, we continued to innovate more. We are now today working on home compostability with our product that can use PLA only, and also other copolymers to achieve that solution. We're also working on biaxially oriented film to replace polypropylene with PLA, and have some great innovations around that. And again, all with partners and collaborators along the way. So we couldn't achieve what we've done without them. Partners like KYF, we could not be here today without them. And so collaboration is really important to help bring these innovations to the market. Okay.
So quite innovative, very innovative. What about you, Mr. Ross?
Okay. Thank you very much. Firstly, thank you to GC for inviting us today. GC have been an investor in our company and a tremendous partner for us over the last 2 years. Interface polymers, Eric makes a good case for the fact that PLA will be part of the packaging solution and bio-based materials, but at the moment I think it's still likely that there'll be some time where polyethylene and polypropylene will continue to be a major part of the world's packaging material. So have I got the right? Yeah, okay. So the world has a major problem. I think we all know that with mixed plastics. They are, most of the material that's used in packaging food is multi-layer film with different kinds of plastics laid together. That's great because it packages food beautifully, it sustains the food chain and prevents food waste. You can see the results, however, on the picture in front of you. Too much of today's material ends up either in landfill or incineration or worse. And the reason is because the films that are put together in most of the food packaging that we use, they contain different plastics. You can't melt them down because when you do, they separate and they can't be recycled. So let me give you a difficult picture. This picture shows, if you look at the one that says no compatibilizer there at the top left, it shows you under a microscope what happens when you melt down a multi-layer film. And what you see is that you get big pieces, big balls or particles of, in this case, polyamide, which is nylon, and it separates from the polyethylene, which is the flat surface like the moon you see there. So the problem with that is it creates a material that you see at the bottom below it. A film that is brittle, easily breaks. It's the one at the left bottom there on the slide. It's brittle, it breaks very easily, it has no optics, and therefore it can't be used again. So this film goes to waste, and that's why. And we heard BCG say at the start of the day that the goal has to be to recycle, but it also has to be to upcycle or move recycling back into the original use that it was made, not just downcycling. And if this can be used at all, it could only be downcycled, and most of it has no value, so it ends up being burnt or incinerated. There are materials, and you see that in the middle picture there, materials that show, there are things called grafted polyethylene materials made by companies like Dow and ExxonMobil. You can add those, and they will break up those big balls of nylon that you see in the worst case. They'll make them smaller. They'll integrate them more. But at the end of the day, they still don't create a film that is anything like the original. And they have other problems. So today, they're not generally used for recycling multi-layer film. The innovation of our company, Interface Polymers, was made at Warwick University in the UK 7 or 8 years ago. And it's a kind of polyethylene that's capable of having what's called a polar chemistry attached to it. That sounds very technical, but what it really means is we make it possible for polyethylene or polypropylene to grab onto those other plastics that you see in those pictures. And the one at the far right there at the top under the microscope, you see that material's been deeply absorbed and integrated into the plastic. And therefore the film that you make, which you see again immediately below that, is frankly every bit as good as ordinary polyethylene. So it's this film that today goes to waste, can't be recycled, behaves like oil and water together when you melt it down. If you add a very small amount of our material, it becomes usable again as native, natural polyethylene, and it can go back into the original purpose 5, 6, 7 times and be recycled. So that's basically the innovation that we bring, I think, to the solution. And I'm sure the final solution will be partly bio-based packaging, but it will also be using the polymers that have been generated over generations of science, using those smarter and using the power of them in a sustainable way.
So mainly is the innovation to be usable again, right? Now next to Mr. Benjamin.
Okay. Firstly, thank you for GC's invite to this event. Firstly, I would like to introduce a little bit about ourselves. Can I have the slide? Yeah. And KYF is actually a converter of the these materials to the products, and we are focusing much more in the food packaging. So this is the product we made. We are a Taiwanese-based company, but we ship a lot to the USA. So our major material now is the petrochemical is PET, and the biodegradable parts is PLA. And of course, I'm very happy to have in the same stage, we have the Eric together, which is our important partners from the PLA resin. So as the manufacturer, what's the challenge that we face from the market? They say the sustainabilities. So far, people are talking about this, but before, this subject belong to nice to have. So if you have something like that, you can present you are good companies. However, as we can learn, even from the morning speech, that the climate change is becoming a serious problem. And so far, the market also requests that ESG or sustainability is the key. So people are talking about no ESG, no money. So this already become must to have. So beforehand, we can do it by our own. We can pick the subject by our own. But right now, we have very restrict numbers to achieve. So this brings us a lot of stress. Try to eliminate or reduce the carbon emission. So that's why we can divide it, this innovation in a few parts. Firstly, of course, the material. The material, if you use the recycled or biodegradable, they can bring a lot of emission reduction. However, only to change the material is still not good enough. In-housely, we have to think about how to improve our process. Because if we still keep the same process to make the virgin material, it's not going to work. And how can we also manage our energy? like in plastic manufacture, we use a lot of energy to heat and cool down, and heating and cooling. So to implement the energy management or the renewable energy is also belong the key. And IT assistance also is one of the subject, because without the good management or without this high technology, we cannot understand what's going on in a real time. And of course, supply chain is also a key. After we inventory all the emission, we realize the most carbon emission is actually coming from the suppliers. Not only the material, but for the packaging materials, transportation, everything is all linked. So we will focus on these 5 segments and also drive not only internally, but also externally to achieve the low carbon. So that's the 5 fields that we will focus on. Thank you.
So when talking about the collaborative challenge, it's not only about changing the material, but also about the process and having energy management using IT assistance, and also have a supply chain collaborative as well.
Right.
So this comes to the next question to Kun Eric. What are the key breakthroughs in the packaging sector from global leaders, and what can we learn from these case studies?
Okay, here we go. Yeah, thank you. So as Ross said earlier, and he's right, the world's going to need multiple solutions for dealing with plastic waste, and recycling is a great option for a lot of the world and a lot of the applications. But there are also applications that recycling doesn't work well, and that's when food waste is attached to the plastic in some way, and it's very difficult to get it off. And so that can be, as an example, a ketchup packet that has leftover ketchup in it. Another example is the one that's on the screen, which is the single-serve market for coffee capsules. Because the coffee is wet, it's left inside the plastic container, and very difficult to recycle that material. And so the best solution for that, for the environment, is compostability. And so that's the innovation that we worked with partners on to develop, is a fully compostable coffee capsule that can be thrown into a compost pile for in this case, industrial compostability. And so as we look at the opportunity that we had to develop this innovation solution, we worked with IMA Sustainability to develop the coffee capsule. And the challenge for us was to deliver on the brand requirements that a coffee capsule brand has, that they need to maintain, from switching from a conventional plastic like polypropylene to PLA. And so some of those requirements are, first and foremost, a cost-effective solution. And even though they have sustainability goals, they want to achieve those in the most cost-effective manner to stay competitive in the market and offer a lower cost solution for customers. So cost effectiveness is really important. The second requirement in this case that a brand would have is ensuring that the food or the taste and the quality of the coffee is maintained, moving from one plastic to another. And in the case of coffee, it's very easy to change the flavor of the coffee just by the polymer itself and the package that it's in. So it's really important to a coffee maker to maintain their brand of coffee taste, and that cannot be altered in changing the package solution. The third challenge on this innovation was to put multiple product parts together for the total solution. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes as we move forward to the next section of the panel. And then finally, it's to hold a package consistency for the coffee capsule. And so I use these coffee capsules, and from time to time, the package will fail and break down. In the case of coffee, the coffee grinds go into your coffee, which is not a desirable experience by a coffee drinker. And so it's really important for that package consistency to hold together as it goes through the process of being punctured and broken by the coffee machine, and then water dripped through to make the coffee. And so those were some of the innovation challenges that we had to deal with to meet the brand requirements. And working with IMA sustainability, over time we were able to develop a very unique and workable solution for coffee capsules, and I'll talk about that more in a few minutes.
Well, that's a very interesting innovation. You know, it's we need multiple solutions for plastic waste, such just like what you said at the beginning. And for example, we have the single-serve market, which is the coffee capsule. Do you have it? Do you showcase it today at the exhibition?
Yeah, we sure do. We have
do?
a couple customers using our material today, and I think what's most important is we've been able to develop it at a PLA only. And that's important because that helps keep the cost down of the solution. When you start to add other copolymers to the solution, depending on the copolymer, it can drive up the cost of the solution. And so it's really important to use as much PLA as possible because PLA is one of the most cost-effective, biodegradable, bio-based, compostable polymers that exist.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Next to Mr. Ross.
Thank you. We've just got to get our slides to coordinate here for a minute.
Some activities that we can enjoy on the stage. Switching
If
slides.
Just go on one. There we go. Good. Perfect. So today, part of what we want to talk about, of course, is collaboration. So this is a case which I think it gives a good example of collaboration. It came through a UK government grant to demonstrate the use of our product in making a circular closed loop for packaging around, in this case, animal food products. So we start at the top. We've worked very extensively with a company that was based in the UK, and that geographic closeness to us was important. Our R&D is based in the UK as well. So they make these multi-layer films, and you can see there the idea of, there's a layer of polyethylene, then a layer of different kind of plastic, a polyamide, some tie layers that hold it all together, and more polyethylene. So they make that. They add our material, a little bit of our chemical to their product at the time that they manufacture the polyethylene. So you end up with a recycle-ready polyethylene. And it's that film for the first time then carries its recycling agent within itself. That film is then it's made into bulk packages for animal feed. In this case, we chose animal feed because it takes time to qualify a product for human food usage. So this was a proof of concept, although it's also a live commercial case. So the bulk animal feed packages are produced. They're turned into eventually into the sort of consumer food product that you see for your cat or your dog, where small sachets are eventually produced. Then the bulk package is recovered from the wholesaler, returned to FlexiPol, who do the cleaning and clean it, shred it, and then turn it back into pellets. And then they're able to feed that back into making new feed bags, and the cycle goes round. So we've repeated this cycle 5 or 6 times. We've worked very extensively with this company, FlexiPol. They're not a big manufacturer of multi-layer films, and that's been a good thing because as a small player, they were able to be more flexible and more responsive. And one of the key themes, I think, for us around, as a startup, you can't manage partnerships through contracts. You have to manage them through relationships. Contracts work when you know exactly what the position A is and position B, but when you know that you're going to have to innovate together, relationships take you much further than contracts. So this company, FlexiPol, has been a tremendous partner for us in terms of we had to go through this a few times to get it right, and now we've been able to complete the cycle multiple times And so I hope that, I don't know if it works I don't know if these products are on sale in Thailand, but certainly in the UK, some of the animal food packaging that you might feed to your cat or dog is capable of being returned back into a film. And that's the sustainable story, I think, that we're all looking for when it comes to these multi-layer films. And I don't think anybody else in the world right now can do that. So we're very proud of that.
Wow, another interesting breakthrough, huh? So that would be a great example for a case study. Is interfacing also having these product showcases at the exhibition zone?
I thought you might ask me that, and I'm not sure because I haven't been to our stand.
All
So
right.
I don't think that specific product is there, but the concept of the film recycling is certainly shown at our stand.
So if you want any more ideas, then perhaps visit the stand today.
That'd be great.
Right, also NatureWorks as well. Okay, so back to Kun Benjamin. What about your breakthrough?
Okay. As the manufacturer, of course, the first thing we can think is to pick the right materials for the production. To the facility or the manufacturer like us, just to changing the material is not that simple because we have to modify a lot from the equipment. But when we talk about, look at the numbers, how much that the carbon emission can be reduced by different type of material. For example, the petrochemicals, when we convert from PET to rPET, they can drop about like a 57 to 60% of the carbon emission. But we choose PLA, it's even less, like a 0.5 to 0.6. So when we talk about this saving or this reduction, there's no doubt that we have to go this way. The only question now is that how can we improve in the manufacturing side and to make it more efficient? Because if we are talking about the just manufacture, if we don't change anything from the manufacturing technology, it's not able to make it the efficient like the virgin. And the other problems to enlarge the scale now is pricing. So we can see the changes. It's much of carbon emission, but pricing is just reversed. Okay, so how can we talk and work together with the resin supplier like Eric, right? So if we can have the more competitive pricing, we can push up the market. But I think in the other hand, how can we make the sustainable product be more sustainable? Is really from the design of products. So in your right hand side, I pick one photos that from Spirit. But in this morning when I just get into this, I saw that this bottle is even much better than this picture. So here we have the square design instead of the round shape, and then there's no label on it. So if we can take out unnecessary material from the products, this will be better for the recycling. So that's what I call design for sustainability. So everything from design will determine that, will make the products to be recyclable or not. So from the manufacturing side, from the recycler, they are just like doing their job. However, when we design the product in the right way, and then we can already eliminate a lot of problems. So that's why we also drive back to the customer. In our products, the food container, we also put a lot of label on the lids. So when we see this design, we will start to and always talk to customer. Hey, can you do another way, put one QR code instead of a big information on the lid, because the label is very difficult to be removed when we do the recycling. So I think from the design is the key, and this is what we are doing now. Okay, thank you.
So what if KYF is suggesting that what is the most important part is that we need to choose the right material. Also, for example, if we choose PLA that can lower the carbon but the pricing is in reverse. And of course, the design that has to be suitable for the recycling process. Yeah, so that's also very interesting ideas. Next question, how can partnerships effectively scale impact in sustainable supply chains? And what are the success stories and best practices from around the world?
Yeah, thank you. So in our case, supply chain partnerships are not only effective, they're required for us to be successful because we're at the very beginning of the value chain. And like I mentioned earlier, our partner, KYF, they've been a great partner over the years in helping develop solutions. And so in the case of the coffee capsule that I showed you earlier and the complexity that comes with making a successful capsule that's a compostable material like PLA, you have to make 3 different components in that capsule: the capsule body, the filter for the coffee, and then the lid. And the lid is the most complex part of that package because that's the part that's punctured by the coffee machine to allow injection of water. And if that lid is not strong enough, the lid will break, the seal will break, the adhesive, and coffee grinds will go down into the coffee. If it's too strong, then you won't be able to puncture the coffee capsule with the machine, and you might actually break the machine trying to do that, depending upon the machine that you're using. So that's the most complex part of the coffee capsule, is the adhesive to hold the lid, but also the lid itself and maintaining structural integrity to it. And so then finally, moving to assembly and filling, you have to be able to fill that, seal it, not get any of the adhesive into the coffee. So all these things take effective partnerships to be able to accomplish it. And this project took us a number of years to get to the final solution that the customer finally felt like was acceptable to take to the brand, and then the brand to adopt it. And I had the opportunity to visit one of our customers a couple months ago, and it always astounds me the amount of technology just even making coffee, and the amount of testing that our customer has to do to make coffee. So it's a really great solution that was developed. This is one example. We have other examples, like I mentioned earlier, the biaxially oriented film that's used for flexible packaging. We're working with a converter and a brand for potato chips to make flexible bags that are compostable, so you can just throw in the compost pile when you're finished with it. So some really great solutions that are being developed, not only effective, but required for us to be successful with partners to achieve them.
So we can say that cross-sector partnerships can really generate more effective solutions.
Yeah, it helps you get to the finish line faster, for sure.
That's true. Mr. Ross?
So let me just check that I've got the slide here that I'm expecting. No. There we are. Perfect. Good. So again, as a startup that has gone from an idea in a laboratory in 2017 to a functioning business today, we're a partnership machine in some ways. That's what we do. We have shareholders in Thailand, India, Germany, the UK, and the US, major shareholders in those countries. We manufacture our product on the east coast of India via a company called Novapur, which is an Indian family-owned company, although it was recently bought by Bain Capital. We do secondary processing of our product in Germany and in the UK, and we have customers all over the world. So partnership is absolutely at the heart of what you have to learn to work with as a startup, and often partnerships where you have a combination of trust but also co-discovery and co-exploration, because you're not starting out with a recipe that you can put into the oven and bring out the same way every time. I've tried to summarize for us the things that I think have been incredibly important in manufacturing successful partnerships. I'd start with, I mentioned it before, bullet point 4 is invest in personal relationships, not contracts, if you're a startup, because it's not going to go in a straight line. It's not going to be simple and predictable. And when things are simple and predictable, then contracts are important and useful, and you need to have them. But the most important thing is that when things aren't happening the way you expect, you have enough trust and personal relationship to be able to fall back on so that you can go on a journey together rather than just point the way in the distance and expect that your partner is going to get there independent of you. So that's the first thing, I think. It also is critically important that you have a real problem to solve. So I used the example, it's just one case study among a lot that we have, of Flexipol, the film manufacturer. They tried a lot of things to solve their recycled multi-layer film problem. They'd tried different products. They hadn't found that the existing technologies, which are mostly called grafted polyethylene technologies, they weren't working for them. So they had a good feeling for what was possible and what was not possible. And that for us was super important, because they recognized that when our first shot at that problem didn't solve all of it, they could see that it was still better than what was available to them today. So that meant that we were able to journey on together. So maturity in understanding the problem to be solved is really important. If you are in a discovery process together, geography helps, being in the same area or the same region of the world so that you can visit each other and learn together is helpful. It's not essential. We've built our manufacturing site in India. We've paid some price for that because of the fact that sometimes we were not able to transport product from India to the UK and back again quickly. But if there's goodwill on both sides, you can work through that. But if you're trying to co-discover things, geography, being in the same country or the same region, it makes it easier. It's not essential. Of course, you need to have mutually overlapping or useful capabilities, useful capabilities in non-overlapping spheres. In other words, we're very good at inventing and perfecting the die block chemistry that we use, but we can't manufacture. We're not good at manufacture. We don't make multi-layer films. So when we partner with people, we also can't coat films, which is one of the other things we have to do. So we've worked with partners in all of those areas where we know they bring capabilities that we don't have, and most of the time we don't second guess how they do it. We don't tell our manufacturer how to manufacture. They don't tell us how to invent the chemistry. We work together and we understand what each other are good at. And the last thing, which has been important, our manufacturing partner is a shareholder in us, Novapur. They own about 10% of our company, and relations are good, contracts are good, but joint ownership of things is even better usually. If we succeed, they succeed. Both they succeed as a manufacturer, but they also succeed as a part owner of our company as we grow value together. So obviously that helps, and having that joint alignment of your interests is very important, especially for the startup, because as a startup, you're often in a weaker position relative to the bigger established companies who you're relying on for investment or service or application. So having them as making sure that you've structured it so that you win together is always important, but even more important if you're a startup. So.
Well, that's true. So what really works for partnerships is that you have to be able to manage to solve the problems, so get to know what is possible, what is impossible. Geography also helps, makes it a lot easier. Mutually also invest in personal relations, and as you mentioned, strong alignment of interest. That will make it work. All
but
right.
if you can't have all of them, get the personal relationships
okay,
right.
so get the personal relationship right. So Mr. Benjamin, you're next.
When people talking about the circular economy, like ourselves, when we talk about this, we always think from our point of view. This means that I can only thinking about can we get the recycled material to manufacture. However, we didn't really get involved into too much in what the market really needs. And there's a chance that there's one branding company in Taiwan, Carrefour Taiwan. They came to us, and then they talk about hey, you are providing the 100% recycled containers. You can, pack the food and also the vegetables. And can we talk about this? And then I was curious. What do you mean talk? I say that they are also facing the huge stress from the NGO, because the NGO asked them to provide more veggies without the plastic packaging. The idea was good. However, this also brings the huge stress from the supermarket, because due to the action like this, supermarket facing the huge loss from the food waste because the food was without the protection. So we are thinking that how can we work together can also bring the benefit for each party from the supply chain. So eventually we come out one solution, and then we just start to do the experiment. About 2 months ago, less than 2 months, we just established one recycle spot in one of the shop. So you can see from the pictures, that's the spot, recycle spot from the shop. The idea is that when the consumer, they come back to the supermarket, they can bring their clamshell or the packages back to the supermarket and drop into this recycle bin. And the idea is that we are not only to provide the packaging, but we also calculate how much volume, by weight, we collect from the shop, and then how much we deliver back to the supermarket. So if the number can be equal, and then we can say that the material number is turning over in between. So it's not the supermarket has less stress, because there will not be a point saying that they are doing selling a lot of food with plastic packaging, but also generate a lot of environmental impact. So we can already tell the story to the NGO saying we are doing the closed loop recycling, and the amount of the material is in between. So in between recycler, in between manufacturer like us, in between the supermarket and ourselves. So this is just started, and then we start to collect the number. And so we will see if the system is going well, then we will start to expand it, the number of the supermarket. And there's other supermarket already, putting queue, asking us to do the same for them. So I think there will be a type of test, and then we hope that can be success, because they can really make the circular economy be practical, can be real. And then we also can solve the problem from each party, not only KYF, but also supermarket. For the recycler, they are also happy with that, because they can collect the right material in one shop. Because beforehand, they have to collect from the other collector. And then they also have to classify the different type of material by their own. And if they can just go to the shop, they can only collect number 1, PET. So that's the first material we pick. And funny thing is that in the first time, we collect much more is bottle, only this. And then when we talk more and more, we can get more and more like a container that we made, and then that's bottle, because that's our intention. Bottle recycling in Taiwan is already in a very high ratio, but the others, like a container, it just started. So we try to use also this way to improve the number of recycling. So that's how we are working now, and we hope that can be success in the next few months. Thank you.
So how long have you started it again?
5 weeks ago.
Only five weeks ago?
Just started.
Wow.
Yes, just started.
So right now you have only one spot?
Yeah, one side, yes.
One side, okay.
Yes.
So who knows, right? Having partnerships, getting involved to know what market needs, working together, making benefits, find solution, and here comes the idea of a recycle spot.
Right.
maybe in a year we'll find so many of them all over the country. Who knows, right? Very interesting. Well, it's obvious that we're seeing the critical importance of resilient, ethical, and sustainable supply chains. For now, we're going to open for the Q&A session in case any one of you have any more questions to ask. มีท่านใดมีคำถามไหมคะ If you have any questions, you could just kindly raise your hand. Do you? You can raise your hand and we'll have a staff to hand over a microphone and you could just ask. Or if you don't have any questions, would you like to talk about the exhibition, the stand that you're presenting today, Narek?
Yeah, we have a stand over in the other room, and it has a number of our products that we've innovated over the years with our customers, from food packaging trays to cups that have a PLA coating inside the cup that replaces polyethylene as a coating. I believe there's some 3D printed materials over there. 3D printing is becoming one of our largest market segments for NatureWorks with PLA. So we have some samples over there of printed materials. So please go by and take a look. We're very proud of the materials that we've made, and as I said, in partnership with Benjamin. And so please go take a look at them.
NatureWorks. Yeah, that's the stand. What about you? Your stand as well?
Yeah, no, similar story. We have some examples of the films that we've been describing at our stand, and the issues with converting multi-layer films into high quality, top grade film that can be recycled back into its original purpose. So we can demonstrate that to you at the stand that we have.
Mr. Benjamin, you didn't have a stand today. Perhaps next time we'll be able to see what you have to present to us. So thank you so much for our three executives who have graciously shared their valuable insights and experiences. Thank you, Mr. Eric. Thank you, Mr. Ross. Thank you, Mr. Benjamin. Another big round of applause to our wonderful guests. Thank you so much for those information. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ Thank you. All right. ก็เป็นข้อมูลที่เป็นประโยชน์มากๆเลยนะคะเพราะว่าปัจจุบัน
insights because today sustainable packaging is something that is very important, and we have seen a lot of innovations that presents alternative packaging for businesses so that the business can be sustainable as well. Before we move to the next session, I would like to invite you all to scan this QR code on the screen. Or you can just capture it first, or you can scan it right now so that you can all fill the questionnaire with GC so that it would help guide us for creating events in the future. This questionnaire is one of our very important mission because you will receive 1 point from filling the questionnaire, and if you receive 5 points, you will receive the gifts, which is it's a revived fiber cushion, which is a recycled fiber from used water bottle, and this is limited edition only for GC. If you have collected 5 points, then you may receive the gifts. And if you're wondering how can you get 5 points, so if you fill in this questionnaire, you will get 1 point, and then the other 3 points you will get from joining all the activities in the event today with GC Sustainable Living Symposium 2024. So I would like to invite you all to join all the activities in the event. And the last point, if you take your picture or the atmosphere of the event and hashtag GC or hashtag Gen S Gathering on your social media, you will be able to get 1 point. If you collect 5 points, you will be able to receive the gifts. Now move on to the next session. This is a showcase session, sustainable product and solution, which is about products as well, but it's a coating resin products to meet the demands of today's consumers.
Products and solution showcase where we will dive into the story behind the sustainable coating resins products and solutions that are designed to meet the evolving needs of today's customers. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Binoy D. Becker, Senior VP Corporate Development and Innovation, all next on the stage. for joining us today. All right, so we're going to start with the first questions. How have AllNext and GC leveraged your partnership to accelerate the sustainable journey, and what synergies have emerged that are helping to drive innovation in the coating resins industry?
Well, before I jump into answering the question, I'd like to thank you and PTTGC for inviting AllNext and offering us the chance to present our sustainable offering, not only here on the stage, but also in the exhibition. And in particular, I would like to thank Koen Trasapron and Koen Narongsak for inviting us. So when we talk of synergies, well, I like to go through a bit the journey of how we got where we are today. That journey has one first path, which was, I would call it a mutual discovery for us and PTTGC to understand who we really are each other and find those synergies. The second topic I will touch is what we call, together with my partner at GC, Koen Kamel, the CTO, what we call our innovation hub, which is really the part of synergies that link to innovation and sustainability. And then say a few words on what we see for tomorrow, for beyond the synergies that we have identified. So the mutual discovery, before getting there, I would maybe describe AllNext, because maybe some of us in the room don't know who AllNext is. So we are a 2.5 billion specialty polymer company with a very specific focus, a focus on what we call industrial coating resin. And it's important to well understand what are those resin. If you compare, let's say, a coating to, or a paint to a soup, there are many ingredients in a soup. But typically there is one that gives it savor, taste, and make you want to drink more of that soup. So what are the properties of a coating that you want to see? You want to see protection. You want to see durability. You want to see shine and appearance. The one ingredient in a paint or a coating that gives that is the resin, the polymer. That is what AllNext makes. And we sell that to big customer, big brand that you may know in Thailand and everywhere in the world, PPG, Sherwin-Williams, Nippon Paint, Kansai Paint, Axalta, AkzoNobel, companies that are well-known brand name even for consumer. Now, the specificity of AllNext is that in that market of resin, we are a global leader. Since this is a market that is existing in every country where you have industry, we have 50 locations, over 50 locations in the world, over 30 plants, over 25 laboratories where we do innovation. By describing AllNext, I'm describing probably to all of you similarities and differences with PTTGC. And the synergies typically, they come for a combination of those similarities and those differences. So in that mutual discovery, what we've identified is that PTTGC, by being upstream of AllNext, by having very strong functionalities in its organization to support basic chemicals, they can have strength that AllNext doesn't have. Strong investment into digital, strong investment into engineering that can improve how AllNext operates. AllNext, on the other hand, has to offer to GC the presence in all of those countries in which we sell the resin to our customer. But beyond those, let's call it not differences, but complementarities, there was one immense similarity between the two companies, is that both of us, we put sustainability as our number one priority for growth. The key growth driver is sustainability and sustainable innovation, both for GC and for AllNext. That makes me even happier to be here today when I see the slogan, sustainability is not impossible. Because in our world of today, it's important to have leadership and believe in the future to deliver that sustainability. Now, when we went through that journey of mutual discovery, what clearly appeared to Kamel and myself is that the bulk of the synergies was in innovation. Sustainable innovation was the place where the two companies coming together could make the biggest difference. So we decided to set up an innovation hub that is an organization to look at those synergies and work together on those. And we could separate, or we could categorize what we're working on those in this hub between what I would call chemical innovation, market innovation, and open innovation. in chemical innovation, we have one program that is really dear to our heart, which we call Green Building Blocks. It is being worked on mostly by a team in our R&D lab in Rayong, but supported by people in America and in Europe. And we work on such topics as, for example, fermentation, the use of lignin, trying to find carbon neutral input to build new type of resin, or even sometimes to rebuild existing type of resin, but based on a carbon neutral input or raw material. The second part, market innovation, came from the fact that we discovered that both PTTGC and Allnex, with an intent to go into new market, had exactly the same intention, the same market that we're targeting. One of those markets is batteries. And you can see some of those examples in the exhibition hall after the presentation. So batteries, why batteries? Well, if you look at how a battery is made, the way that an electrode is made is by applying a binder, as they call it. It is just a paint. Making a battery is painting a metal and putting it together with an electrolyte in a casing. So the same challenge that we help our coating customer to meet, we can help battery maker to meet. So we are working there together with PTTGC on new polymer for batteries, for protection, for electrodes, and all of the needs of people making batteries in terms of polymer functionalities. The second market that we both had the intent to go into is engineered polymer or composite. And there, from the Allnex point of view, what we bring to the market is a way to make composites free from chemicals of concern, like styrene, and also a methodology which we call UV curing, which is a technology that enables a very fast cross-linking or hardening of a resin, which can make composite, or the making of composite material, much more automated and efficient. Today, the making of composite is a very manual labor. It takes time, it's difficult, and it is not really easy to use that for high volume production. With the UV curing, you can make that possible. So after chemical innovation, market innovation, the third area that I wanted to touch upon is open innovation. There, we are leveraging very heavily the corporate venture group of PTTGC. So PTTGC has been a leader and is recognized in the industry as an identifier and investor into startup companies. Companies that are taking more risk than a corporation can take. It's important to make those early investments, because when a technology is in its infancy, it's too risky for a corporation to dare to put the money and put the people. But you can participate in that investment as a venture capitalist, and that is what GC does with CVC. There's already a few investments from CVC that have been influenced by Allnex. We just had a panel now with Interface Polymer present. This is an investment that we co-sponsored together with Dr. Kamel Ramdani, the CTO of GC and the head of CVC. And other investments also have collaboration built into them. One recent investment is a company called Lacryl, which is making bio-based acrylic, which has a catalytic process to make bio-based acrylic acid, a key raw material for Allnex. And another one is called Econic, that can produce polyol, another raw material for coating, based from use of CO2, so derived from CO2. So these investments are very useful for us to invest in the future of sustainable innovation. So that's what I would summarize.
So the synergy comes from the combination of the strength that Allnex does not have, but GC have, and the strength that GC does not have, but Allnex have.
Exactly.
Right? And what Allnex and GC have in common is to put the sustainability on the top of your innovation. So we can say that this combination of Allnex and GC can commit to strengthening its leading position in the chemicals business by combining environmentally friendly innovations with advanced technologies to the same market.
Exactly.
All right, so come to the next question. Can you share some examples of how Allnex's sustainable products have positively impacted industries and helped drive them towards more environmentally friendly practices?
Yes, how I would answer that question, I would think first of telling a little bit of our sustainable DNA. How much sustainability is ingrained into the brain and the leadership of Allnex since many, many years. And then I want to give a few examples of today. So if we look back in the past, the many legacies of Allnex, actually already in many places in the world, have contributed to make coating more sustainable. Even before it was fashionable to be sustainable. Maybe the word didn't even exist as it is today. So if I go through a few examples, the first, and I'm talking of innovation that took place like 60, 70 years ago. So it's really into the history of the company. So the first wave of sustainability was the realization that to have solvent in coating is not really a good thing. There's an element of a solvent can sometimes be a chemical of concern. The vapor of the solvent can make people dizzy. And so you want to use less. Solvent is very useful, but when you use too much, it can lead to problems. So the company worked on high solid solution. So to make solvent meeting what today we have regulation on VOC, but at that time there was no regulation, but it was making the product more user-friendly in terms of impact on health. Those were developed in many places of Allnex. They were developed very sure in the AkzoNobel resin legacy. That was our legacy of Allnex in the US, in the Netherlands. They were also developed not only for resin, but for cross-linker, the product that hardens the coating, that makes it last long. And that was happening also in US and in Japan, in one legacy of Allnex that we had between Cytec and Mitsui at the time. So the next wave on sustainability was to say, can we, and it's not always possible, but can we try to go to waterborne coating? So you have the resin that is carried by water and not by solvent. You still have a little bit of solvent in it, but not too much. And there, the breakthrough came in Austria, in one of the legacy of Allnex called Vianova, where Dr. Hörnel, many, many years ago, developed the first waterborne solution for industrial application. You can already hear I mentioned the word industrial application because a coating for industrial application is much more difficult in terms of the properties you need to achieve. And so waterborne for those applications came much later than from decorative application. And it happened really in Austria, in one of the legacy of Allnex. Then some people took the path to innovation to more breakthrough changes at the time. And there's two technologies that represent breakthrough because you apply and you harden the coating in a totally different way than waterborne or solvent-borne coating. One of those innovations we call powder coating. It's a system in which the coating is actually a powder that you apply directly to a metal substrate. You put that metal in an oven, and the powder will melt and harden and react at the same time and produce a coating. You have no emission of any solvent, no water to evaporate, and you have the other benefit that this particular technologies, because of the way it is applied, produce no waste and is 100% recyclable. When this started in 1970s and 80s, there was no regulation. So it was driven by the fact that this was a technology that is very affordable, that is easy to apply, you don't require any skilled labor to apply, and fully recyclable with no waste. So economically, it was very attractive to the industry. The second innovation that was a breakthrough in the same time frame is what we call UV curable resin. So those are resin that you also don't have a solvent. They're carried by a diluent that reacts with them. And those resin, they will harden, in the flash of a UV light. So their value from an economical point of view was super high performance because the density of reactivity of the resin is high, and productivity in the same footprint that you have in your factory, because you cure with UV light, the hardening of the coating happens much faster, and you can produce at a higher pace in the same footprint. But the sustainability benefit of that resin was you have no carrier, whether water or solvent, that you need to evaporate. And so you have no emission in the factory environment that would be detrimental for the worker. So those are examples of innovation that took place all over the world, in all countries of Europe, in the US, in Asia, in Japan. The powder coating resin was even further developed here in Thailand. And those are really the building blocks on which we have built the sustainable leadership of Allnex today. If I think of innovation that are happening today, and I can talk of them by big segment that we touch in the market, I would start with what we call mobility and transportation. It's mostly automotive. And some of the innovation that we are doing today, they are linked to chemicals of concern, which is one of the latest wave of sustainable innovation, which is make every chemical safer. So one of the solutions that we have developed is we call it solvent-free PUDs. So it's a very specific chemistry that was designed to enable to make the primer of automotive coating contain no solvent, and in particular, two solvents called NMP and NEP that were not really good to have in a factory environment, and that started to be regulated. But before the regulation we already had a solution based on our own isocyanate to make a PUD that does not contain solvent and can give the performance to that industry. You need to know that if you look across the world, one in every other 3 cars probably has this technology from Allnex on their coating. The next segment I'd like to talk about, we call it construction and infrastructure. In that segment, you will have wood coating for flooring, you will have metal coating for garage door, for facade cladding, for window frame. And one of the innovations that we brought, we call it super durable powder coating. There, the idea is to make a coating, again, without VOC, without solvent, without no emission, to coat window frames, and which at the same time makes those window frames last much longer. You can have durability up to 15 years and beyond with this particular polyester that was designed to last very, very long, because you don't want that you buy a new window frame, you install it in your home, and after 5 years you have to change or repaint it even. In that case, you just keep it. They last for like 15 years and beyond. And then the last market I'd like to touch, we call it packaging and consumer goods. It's the market maybe in which the application that we do are most visible to people. It is also a market because it has this consumer dimension that is much more regulated. You can imagine that if you know that someone is coating a can in which there's food, there are regulations. You don't want your food to be in contact with bad chemicals. So there, some recent innovation that we have developed, one we call it BPA-NI, and as the name indicates, it's relating to epoxy and bisphenol A, and it's a technology that enables you to coat the inside of a can without the use of epoxy, hence with no risk of having exposure to BPA, which, as you know, is a chemicals of concern in our industry. So the technology in itself is a phenolic resin, that's what we call the chemistry, and it is one that can be mixed with polyester instead of being mixed with epoxy to make the coating for food cans. Typical can when you would have like tuna or this kind of element. The second innovation in packaging and consumer goods that I would like to highlight is a type of UV curable resin that enables to have very low migration and extractable. What do we call extractable is that when you put a coating on a packaging, even at the outside of the packaging, it can migrate through the packaging. There's a risk. So you need to design the molecules so that they don't migrate through the packaging. And even something at the outside of the package, like an ink, a varnish, you will not find the molecule go through the film inside and touch the food. So we design a molecule from the beginning. It's almost designed for sustainability. We design the molecule so that the UV curing ink will not leave any trace of any substance on the other side, on the side of the food in the packaging. So this would be the innovation of today. If I can close on this idea of what impact can Allnex leave, I want to talk a little bit of circularity, which was mentioned a number of times today, because the simple concept of a coating is actually something that enables circularity. And our goal is to further that beyond what we have done today. How does it enable it today in how we do innovation? two elements. You can say that we talk of durability. If we make an object more durable, thanks to the coating, let's say if we double the lifetime of an object, you need to produce that object maybe only half the time than you do it today. So that's already an impact. The second element that we've been doing, and I talked about it a few times, since many years, is to try to eliminate chemicals of concern. That's also a key pillar of circularity, safe chemistry. So on durability and on safe chemistry, we've given some examples today. But the other topic of circularity that we are busy with together with GC, one is to have product that enables recycling or that are compostable. Enabling recycling, for example, is to make a product decross-linkable. That is a coating that you can, or an ink that you can remove from the substrate. So you make the substrate recyclable. And compostability would mean to work on molecule that after the object is disposed of, they can return to nature without any impact on nature. So circularity is really our guiding star at Allnex, and that's how we try to, is the lens that we use to read our pipeline of innovation and make sure that we are bringing the world to a better place.
So many breakthroughs, so many innovation. And when speaking of sustainability, seems like Allnex had a long journey. At the very beginning, we started with the legacy of Allnex of making coating more sustainable, and many breakthroughs in so many markets as well. Also, I think another proof is that a successful sustainable product is from the platinum rating by EcoVadis, right? That you have received. The rating puts Allnex among the top 1% of all companies distinguished by exceptional green policies, actions, and results. That's something that's to be very admired as well.
Maybe one word on that element on EcoVadis and on sustainability. It's another element of synergy that we have put in place with Dr. Ramdani. So he has set up a sustainability center of excellence, which is led by the head of sustainability of Allnex, David Leclerc, and which is bringing together all of the subsidiaries of PTTGC, because EcoVadis and other topic of sustainability require a lot of knowledge sharing and learning. And by bringing those different experiences together, we can accelerate the progress of everybody within the GC family on sustainability.
It's very interesting. So it's Sustainability Center of Excellence. Wow, amazing. Now, how does Allnex balance the need for rapid innovation in sustainable coatings with the pressure of the market demand and the regulatory requirements?
That's a question it's a big challenge. So when, it's a couple of years since we reshape our innovation, and what I observe is that innovation is there in a company to meet many competing needs. And these needs, they're different, and they have different timeline. If I talk to my business partner in the company, the first one that's dear to their heart is we need to be competitive. And innovation has a role to play to make us competitive. In many different dimensions, the qualification of raw materials, the optimization of our product recipe, or by constant customer support, showing to customers that we can make a difference and giving them a product that is tweaked to their needs, that enable us to keep or grow our market share. We also have needs in innovation for some specific progress that our customers are making in new markets. And we need to be there to develop the product for them. And in parallel to those needs, which are, let's call it short to mid-term, the company has strategic imperative. We talked of sustainability, which we know the ambition is pretty high, and not all that we do today will bring revenue tomorrow. Maybe it's the day after, the year after. We also have the ambition to go into new markets. We talked of the batteries, the composite. We also want to grow in additive. Those are things that require innovation that will not deliver immediately. So when I look at those competing needs, when we look at the different timeline, there's two key elements that can help us deliver that. One element, I would simply call it governance. So it's first, we want to bring a governance that drives a culture of value creation. So in everything that we do, let's make sure that we know the value of what we bring. The second dimension of that governance is we want also to make sure that we put the resources that are needed to our ambition. Sometimes I have seen in the past that we would dream of something and then not put the people and expect it would happen. We need to be realistic, both in not over-investing but also not under-investing in innovation. In the governance also, we need to secure an amount of resource for the long term and for those more strategic ambition. And there what we are putting in place, and the same is happening in PTTGC with the team of Dr. Kamal, we are putting in place what we call project houses. And the idea there is the long-term ambition to manage them not as project but as portfolio of projects. So one example I could give is we have one project house that we call circular packaging. We see packaging changing in many dimensions, many directions. I could not tell you, but I don't think anyone in the room could tell exactly which will be the winning direction. So we need to hedge our bets and put a team together that is resourced enough that we allocate to develop the solution, and depending on the direction of the market, respond with agility so that when one new direction develops, we are ready to jump on it and capture the benefit. Last point on the governance, we need to hardwire some imperative of innovation in the governance. I'll give two examples. Whether we work on a product for today, tomorrow, or the day after, what we do in our governance, we do a review of the sustainability profile of the product. That enables us to make sure that every step along the way that we innovate, whether it is for today, tomorrow, or next year, we make sure that we make an effort to step by step always go towards an improvement of our portfolio. We call that sustainable product management, we call that EcoWise. It's the brand name of Allnex that helps us measure that we are improving our portfolio. But we can also hardwire in the governance the need to constantly improve competitiveness. At Allnex, we call that Project Derby. And the idea is that every new development, we want to look at the recipe of the product to make sure that we are not overdoing it, that we are not putting bells and whistles on the product that are not needed and increase its cost, because our business partner then could not be able to sell the product. I want to add, one last comment on this topic. So strategy is often something that will not deliver today. And so in some of those topics, we need to really have leadership and ahead of driving our team, give a direction to the company and stick to that direction the most extent possible. Because you see on the slide, I don't know if we see the slide with, maybe we can show the next slide, the one with this astronaut. So why our communication team made that slide is, I'm often reading stories on when the US decided to go to the moon. And I find that inspiring. So in 1962, Kennedy made a speech at Rice University where he said, we choose to go to the moon. And the idea was to go to the moon by this decade. And I think that we need to give big ambition to ourselves, because what we don't want, we'll never achieve. So we need to strongly tell what we want. And that's the only chance that we achieve it. Whether we achieve it in 5 years, 6 years, or 7 years, doesn't really matter. What matters is that we don't decide to achieve it, we will never achieve it. That's why sustainability goal, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 sustainability goal. We also have ambition on EcoWise, on the share of product that we sell that is improving the world. It's important to set, otherwise there's no chance that we achieve it.
Say that by fully adopting environmental, social, and especially governance practices plus leadership, and you make the world's goal as our own, and that's how you balance the need for the rapid innovation in sustainable coatings with the pressure of market demand and regulatory requirements. So I've heard that you also have the Allnex stand or booth here at the exhibition zone. Could you please share with us what are you presenting today?
Yes, so if you visit the stand, and actually you all should visit the stand,
Yes.
what you will see, a couple of innovations you will see present there. One of them is a technology that we are co-developing together with a company called DUR, which is enabling drop-on-demand coating for automotive. And what we sell into that paint is specifically an additive that makes the printing machine work. And it enables to create those dual tone color on cars when the roof is a different color from the rest of the car. And what our product gives is a property of enabling the drop-on-demand technology and also allowing that you don't have sagging of the paint, that is the paint sagging before it hardens. So that will be, we call that OFLA, the technology, OFLA. That's what you'll see on the left of the booth. Something else you will see on the booth is linked to batteries. And you see a collection of technology that we have, us alone and us together with GC, the casing of the batteries, the binder for the batteries. And then the third thing that you will see on that booth is linked between composite and batteries. We showcasing a technology from one of our partners called Enervenue. It's a company that is making batteries that involve hydrogen for energy storage. And what we bring to that battery is the casing as well, but the casing that is a composite casing. It's like a cylinder that is made by the winding of a fiber onto a shape, impregnated with UV curable resin, and then making that cylinder harden through the UV resin, which is a much more convenient technology in that particular case to create those cylinders. And those cylinders, they host a hydrogen-based battery for energy storage.
So those are the two main technologies that you're presenting at the exhibition area.
Amongst many other things to discover on the booth.
Okay.
But I will not tell everything.
So that everyone here could be joining at the booth at the exhibition area. So we have a few more minutes for the Q&A session. มีท่านใดมีคำถามเพิ่มเติมไหมคะ Would you like to ask any questions about the products or the innovation? Kindly raise your hand. มีไหมคะ ตอนนี้ไม่มีคำถามนะคะ Would you like to add a bit anything more for Allnex since we still have some more time?
Yes, what I want to say is you know, this idea of bringing together Allnex and PTTGC. I talk of the difference between the company and the complementarity. And the more time I spent working with GC, the more I think that, you know, that decision to bring them together, and there I would really thank the vision of Kun Narongsak and Kun Tuasapon, will leave a big impact. You know, we went yesterday to the 13th anniversary of GC, and we saw how PTTGC was formed with 4 entities put together many years ago. And I think that in as much as that moment of putting the 4 entities together and creating GC can be seen today as very important in the history of the chemical industry in Thailand, the idea of putting Allnex together with PTTGC 13 years later will be seen as a defining moment for the world chemical industry.
Just like you said, it's the synergies between GC and Allnex has leveraged the partnership, as GC's portfolio includes the manufacturing and distribution of upstream, intermediate, and downstream petrochemical products from industries such as packaging, textiles, and automotive, while Allnex is the leading supplier of specialty chemicals offering a broad range of industrial resins. So with this togetherness, the combination of Allnex and GC can commit a strengthening its leading position in the chemical business by combining environment-friendly innovations with advanced technology. So thank you very much for your time and sharing your innovations and your breakthroughs from Allnex. So let me ask once again, if just in case you have any questions, do we have any questions from our online as well? มีช่องทางออนไลน์ไหมคะที่มีคำถามสามารถส่งคำถามขึ้นมาได้นะคะ We can bring the microphone to all of you if you're interested in asking some more questions about the products of Allnex. ไม่มีนะคะ ถ้าไม่มีนะคะ So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you, Mr. Binoy De Becker, Senior VP, Corporate Development and Innovation, Allnex. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll be seeing you at your stand. Allnex booth at the exhibition zone. Kindly pay a visit. There's more technologies, more breakthrough to present. So just visit. Right? All right, thank you so much ขอบคุณค่ะขอบคุณมากๆเลยนะคะ Thank you so much นั่นก็เป็นอีกหนึ่งนวัตกรรมนะคะจาก Allnex ก็ขออนุญาตเชิญชวนท่านแขกผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านนะคะได้แวะไปชมบูธของ Allnex กันได้นะคะที่ Exhibition Zone นะคะก็เป็นนวัตกรรมหรือว่าเทคโนโลยีทางด้านเรซิน coating นะคะซึ่งปัจจุบันนี้เนี่ย resin coating นี่ก็ไปไกลมากนะคะเมื่อสักครู่นี้คุณมินก็เล่าให้ฟังแล้วนะคะว่าจริงๆแล้วบริษัท Allnex เนี่ยได้เน้นนโยบายในเรื่องของ sustainability เนี่ยมาอย่างยาวนานแล้วนะคะแล้วก็เน้นเลยว่าในส่วนของ coating จะต้องมาพร้อมกับการเน้นความยั่งยืนแล้วก็ sustainability นั่นเองนะคะแล้วตอนนี้นะคะก่อนที่เราจะเข้าสู่เซสชั่นต่อไปนะคะย้ำกันอีกครั้งขึ้นมากันเลยนะคะ QR code ค่ะใครยังไม่ได้สแกนคะสแกนกันไปแล้วหรือยัง
So you can take a photo and fill in the questionnaire later, and if you have time now you can answer some surveys right now also, and it will be a guide for us. Your feedback will be our improvement for future events, and you can receive a souvenir that which is a pillow that is created from innovation of fiber. If you have collected enough scores today from all the stages, you can go collect the souvenir. For example, if you answer the question here on the screen, you receive 1 score, and if you join other activities, and another score is to take a selfie or the event environment and post on your social media at #GC and #Gen S Gathering, and then you collect another point. We'll have a short break because the next question is very interesting as well, because it includes financial content, and if you're interested in investment or finance, you cannot miss the next session. It's going to be a new trend to step into the society of low carbon economy. Please stay tuned.
หนึ่งนะคะกับเซสชั่นต่อ
Come back to the next session for Gen S. This session we will talk about sustained finance solution, which is a very significant tool towards low carbon society. How sustainable finance support low carbon society. From CEO from K-Bank, HSBC, and PTT, talking about finance as a vital role of sustainable finance, which help enhance their business towards sustainability and achievement as well. We will meet 3 CEOs from 3 leading organizations working on net zeros in different aspects, but sharing the same goal is to help Thailand towards low carbon society. And we will have, at the end of this session, we will have Q&A session. So prepare your questions, and if you have questions for the online audience, you can also type your questions on the chat box, and we will ask those questions to our executives. So let's meet our executives. First, may I welcome Kun Khatira Intaravichai, CEO from K-Bank.ขอเรียนเชิญมิสเตอร์จอร์โจแกมบ้า CEO HSBC และคุณพัทรลดาสง่าแสง May I invite the 3 panelists on the stage? As I have already mentioned, that this session, it's Gen S who are in the finance sector will really enjoy this session. We will be talking to the financial sectors. So hello for the 3 panelists. Welcome the 3 panelists to GC Sustainable Living Symposium 2024. First of all, I would like to ask Kun Khatira. Our question is regarding incorporating sustainability into the business strategy. How can business effectively incorporate sustainability into their overall strategy, specifically focusing on ESG initiative in financial operation? So first of all, I really feel honored to be invited to this stage together with Kun Patharalada from PTT and also CEO from HSBC. About sustainability, HSBC is one of our role model, which K-Bank, which is in the emerging market, really try to observe what HSBC is doing. We had a conference call to the UK to discuss about implementation in the global level, to discuss about the challenges in the global level so that we would be able to learn and adapt to our context. So we probably be talking as being in an emerging market in Thailand. I would like to start from my first slide. Working on net zero and climate change and sustainability. We might think that there's one project, one initiative. No, that's not the point. Actually, in K-Bank or Kasikorn Bank, we start from our strategy. We start from our goal and vision. So we want to be a sustainability bank or bank of sustainability, and the vision, as you can see on the slide, which says that we aim to deliver sustainable value to all stakeholders. So the image on the left as an infinity, you can see that we have identified our stakeholders, which are consumers, customers, shareholder, employee, regulators, and social. Now, in order to deliver the values to all stakeholders, we need to do what is shown on the right. 1, 2, 3 plus 1. So number 1 is credit performance. Secondly is about scale capital, life fee income business. About wealth management. Number 3 is strengthening and pioneer sales and service models to deliver value-based results. And plus 1 is regarding innovations. And below is about technology, AI, data, and personal human resources. So this is what we have incorporated in when we start the planning. Now, if we look into further details, you can see our climate strategy. We still have that infinity. This is the focal or the core of ESG. You saw 1, 2, 3 plus 1 over on the previous slide, but this time this is not about business. This is about climate strategy. In K-Bank perspective, we separate into 2 perspectives. If we can achieve, or if anybody can achieve, it would be an opportunity to generate income. But if you don't achieve it, then it will become a risk and you would lose opportunities for their business. Like nobody would purchase the products if we cannot achieve sustainability. So number 1, number 2 is addressing about the risk. Number 1, we call scope 1. Scope 1 and scope 2 is our own operation. We have to be a green operation. We have to be green operation with cost efficiency. And the indicator will be on the left. We would like to achieve net zero in our own operation by 2030. Scale 2 or scope 2 is about decarbonized finance portfolio, which means that clients in our loan portfolio has to be finance portfolio. They need to be net zero in finance portfolio by 2065. And as I've already mentioned that in Thailand context, this is only in Thai context. Maybe in the global level, the goal would be faster, but 2065 in Thailand context, or we can say by K-Bank context. Now, scope 3, strengthen traditional revenue, and plus 1 is create new revenue from beyond banking, which can be applied in any businesses, not just banking. If we can achieve this, we have more opportunity. So the revenue, whether it's green loan, green bond, sustainable bond, is in scope 3. Plus 1 is the increased new revenue from beyond banking or the various innovations. As you can see, we have What's Up, which is innovation about EV motorbike, about electricity that we are working with EGAT, and we also have Creative Climate Research Center, which is in plus 1. But as I've said, that in Thailand context, whether it's the rules and regulations, the carbon tax or climate change, technology and infrastructure, including awareness of the customers, the adaptation. If we compare it with the European countries, I think we have improved less than 50%. So when we discuss, we have to try and take our customers, the country, and ourselves together, gradually transition to our goal. So this is what K-Bank is aiming. So it's a very clear goal in terms of sustainability, starting with the being a sustainability bank to deliver a sustainable goal to all stakeholders and be serious about it. And next, may I ask representative from HSBC, Kun Giorgio,
effectively incorporate sustainability into their overall strategy, specifically focusing on ESG initiatives in financial operations?
Thank you for the question, and thank you, first of all, to Kun Kitia for the very generous words about HSBC. We also find that K-Bank is a real leader in this space in Thailand, so thank you. We feel we've done a pretty good job of incorporating sustainability into our overall strategy. And I think not as an accident, we've been recognized by Euromoney as Asia's best bank in sustainability for the last 7 consecutive years. And this is something that I think goes back to 2020 when we really made sustainability one of the 4 key strategic pillars of the bank overall. In 2020 as well, we were amongst the first banks to say we would commit to to reaching net zero in our own operations by 2030, in the same way that K-Bank has done, and net zero in our financed emissions by 2050. The other thing I think that we made a real effort in is to really convince all our 250,000 employees that the transition to net zero is a real once-in-a-generation opportunity that we're all very privileged and lucky to be able to take a part in. So I think that was a mindset shift which was important. We also stated our very clear ambition to finance finance and investments of up to $1 trillion to drive the transition to net zero, and we're well on our way to meeting that target already. As to our own operations, which is not as important as you would think for banks, because most of our financed emissions or our emissions come from the activity of our clients once we finance them. But our own operations, we've already managed to reduce our greenhouse gases by 57% from a 2019 baseline. And I think that demonstrates our commitment to, before we can go out and speak to our clients about how important sustainability and financing and the transition is, we need to really, get our own house in order. ESG is also about the S part, which is the social element, which we think is very important. I'm very lucky to be in the middle of two very senior and talented ladies, and I think we've made a commitment in terms of inclusion where we target 35% of our leaders in HSBC globally to be females by 2025, and I'm happy to say we've already reached 34% penetration in 2023. And that's, I think, a part of ESG that we cannot forget. It's not just about the E or environmental part. But I think one thing that I'd like to call out that really sets us apart, I think, is our net zero transition plans. So we've put our own net zero transition plan out into the public domain. It's a 107-page document. It identifies 7 high-emitting sectors where we've clearly laid out what our portfolio looks like now and what our plans are, the pathway to reduce the financed emissions from those high-emitting sectors. And I think that's really kind of open, clear, and transparent of us. For 2 of those sectors, namely oil and gas and power and utilities, we also continuously update and report on the progress that we are making on those transition pathways. And I think the transition plan, the final point I'd say is we also have created a center of excellence both in London, Hong Kong, and in Singapore, and where we employ very many talented non-bankers who are experts in carbon capture, clean hydrogen, carbon removal. And what we do is, along with our clients in the high-emitting sectors, run a transition plan assessment where we work alongside with our clients to really evaluate a client's transition plan to their own stated objectives and use our center of excellence to see if there are other things that we can suggest to prioritize that we can then in turn finance. So we're really coming at it from a partnership perspective rather than just a bank just trying to sell a product or a solution. So that's really how we try and make a difference. Thank you.
Well, I really love the idea of mentioning about transition to net zero and looking at it as a privilege for all of us to take a part of it, and that's why we are here. We are Gen Sustainability to take part of this. It's about everyone who needs to be a part of sustainability in this world. ก็ขออนุญาตนะคะกลับไปที่คุณภัทรดานะคะคำถามเดียวกันนะคะว่า
To ask the same question. So how do you integrate sustainability into the business when you focus on ESG? So we can say that, I can say that 4 of us on the stage is included in this symposium, the Sustainability Symposium, and I love the motto of sustainability is not difficult to do. And for me, I come from GC. I was a CFO in GC, and I invited 2 honorable guests here to this symposium because I believe that they have great roles in financial industries and can give excellent aspect. So this is a great example to ask wonderful questions to KBank and HSBC, how they look at PTT Group, how to find fund in the future. So please allow me to present some slides. This is the concept of PTT, the PTT Group strategic direction. Whatever we do, we would like every group of our stakeholders to feel comfortable and they can rely on us. I don't want to say that our organization is 100-year old, but we can continue to grow longer than this. So today, what PTT can do to add value for our stakeholders, and you can see that we insist on creating sustainability for energy, and we can grow alongside with reducing GHG. So we want to grow in Thai society and global society. How can we do that? Then we have to ask the citizen in the country or the stakeholder in the country how they live in the society. So we have the commitments of the year 2015. And the question is, how do we achieve net zero? And the business in PTT has involving gas and power plants and other new businesses. And of course, we use resource. And how do we reach and achieve this net zero goal? So we need to come up with a great strategy. We have to establish initiatives, and these are very challenging. And it needs collaboration because we have many flagships, affiliates, and they already do this project, this prototype really well. And of course, we have to focus on the revenue. We also need to walk into this white road which will lead us to net zero goal. We also have to pay attention on investing to reduce GHG and carbon dioxide. One strategy that already have been conducted is increasing safety, adjusting portfolio from the business that have high emission into a lower business, lower emission. So the portfolio adjustment is important. And we have 3 specialties in chemical industry, coating, and we try to have lower emission, have 50% lower emission. And you have listened to this topic in the morning. And we have CFO of GC here as well, who discuss about this. We invest in renewable energy power plants. We invest in this business in India, and we do solar or power farm. So in every parts of our organization, really pay attention in this matter. And one strategy or tactic that PTT is doing is to invest in any business or projects that is about carbon dioxide capture or carbon capture, investing in hydrogen business that can be used as an energy in manufacturers, not just in transportation industry. Right now, PTT is the leader, and we try to define what our flagship affiliates can do in this project. we brainstormed and worked together so we can be sure that finally the emission that we plan for can be reduced, can be measured, and can meet our goal. And talking about finance, apart from sustainable financing, which we will discuss next, when we work every day nowadays, our back office is trying hard to adapt the digital into the process. So we understand digitalization, we use robotic to assess accounting. It's not just adjusting or maximize the potential of their operation, but we also can reduce the usage of power or electricity. So of course, GHG emission is lower after we do this. So it's centralization. We adjust the business part, we centralized affiliate company. Our employees understand the culture, they understand climate change matter. So we can say that PTT pay attention to the stakeholders, and we play an important role in sustainability. But how to achieve net zero goal, this depends on the operation. For example, the portfolio adjusting. And another question, the sustainable financial, how can this help the lower carbon society? Okay, let me say this. K-Bank loan nowadays is 2.5 trillion baht. We have green loan as well, and the green loan is around 70 billion baht. When we calculate these numbers, the loan of 2.5 trillion is less than 3% that support the green loan. So I don't want to brag that we have already done perfectly, because we still need an improvement. There are still rooms for improvement. And I would like to share 3 case studies. These case studies are all different, and to show you how we support our society and our customers. The first one, we cooperate with GC. It's called Sustainability Linked Loan. It's worth 10,000 million baht. And we have a very transparent measurement. And I can say that this is the first time in Thailand that there is this type of transparent measurement. And by 2030, GC carbon emission will be reduced 20%. And the second target, we need to keep maintaining the good points and achieve a top 5 ranking within a chemical sector in the JSI World Index. If we can maintain this, then it's worth to say that we achieve sustainability goal, and we will have, it will be beneficial in the profit and for the customer, and they will receive better rate, interest rate. And there are more projects that we work together with GC. For this one, this is K-Bank Venture Capital called Bacon Impact Fund, and we have a goal of 1.5 billion baht. It's not only green goal, but it includes financial inclusion, sustainable finance, decarbonization solutions, we also need to prepare for many type of data for reporting solution. And we only just invested in ion energy, clean energy in Thailand, and we invested in Agra, financial inclusion in the UK. Another one, we collaborate with BCPG, the first bond of Thailand, a bond plus carbon credit. The rate is a market rate, but what will happen is the investor buy it in the primary market and they can choose if they want carbon credit, or they can choose REC, REC, Renewable Energy Certificate, that can be offset with their own operation. This is pretty unique for investors and BCPG. Apart from this, what will happen is that there is an innovation in capital market in terms of ESG related investment. Moreover, we add more liquidity in the market. Lastly, it encourages investors to come and do research in carbon trading. They can have more interest in this, and the implication in tax as well. So this is the three cases that we believe that will have the society will have benefits from us. Of course, this can create a long-term profit and achieve net zero goal.
In the second question, in what ways does sustainable finance enhance long-term business performance while contributing to the pursuit of a low-carbon society?
Thank you. At a very basic level, sustainable finance, if it's geared towards financing renewable energy projects, enables corporates and everyone really to reduce their reliance on volatile fossil fuel prices. So at a basic level, that's already a good place to start to create a sustainable future. Sustainability-linked loans, you've mentioned them, and those are a great innovation, and sustainability-linked bonds. As we've heard with these excellent examples, including PTTs, when the sustainability KPIs are met, these result in favorable terms for the borrowers. The beauty, the art is in the setting of those KPIs to make sure that corporates advance their sustainability agenda at the right pace. And it's good to see that the industry has taken on board this challenge. I think the other things that sustainable finance benefits a corporate can be seen in the expansion of the investor base. So I wanted to bring an example from outside of Thailand. We were recently JGC and ESG structuring agent for a $2.5 billion IPO of ADNOC, which is Abu Dhabi's national oil company. And for them, the ESG structuring part was incredibly important because it required telling the story of the sustainability journey and commitments and investments that they were going to be making. And this was absolutely critical in their number one ambition of attracting more and different and diversified investors. So again, sustainable finance and the focus on ESG can be helpful in getting that diversification of the investor base that's very critical for a sustainable business. I've also seen firsthand, we've done a number of sustainability-linked loans for Thai corporates this year, which have all been very successful and way oversubscribed, which is great to see. But really, I've seen Thai corporates excel by focusing on sustainability, and it's resulted in two benefits. One is resource efficiency maximization and cost optimization, but the other is the relentless focus on the advanced technologies that you need to make investments into to stay on top of your sustainability story has really given them the ability to create and deliver products and solutions that put them ahead of global competition. A global competition that, as we know this year, is very strong, high quality, incredibly low prices coming from all over the world, putting some Thai corporates under pressure in the export markets. So the focus on sustainability has really created a defensive moat for these corporates to be able to continue to excel in the global market. And finally, one last reference, which is to sustainable supply chain finance. And we did a transaction in the US with Walmart. We call it Project Gigaton. The ambition of that was to remove 1 billion metric tons of greenhouse gases from the environment. And the way that Walmart did that was it set its suppliers a challenge to meet and exceed Walmart's own sustainability-linked KPIs. And those suppliers that met and exceeded these KPIs were provided with favorable financing terms from HSBC. I'm happy to say that given the success of the Gigaton project, earlier this year our team has brought this sustainable supply chain finance also to Thailand, and we very much look forward to rolling that out with our corporate clients here. Thank you.
So put simply, this means investing your money where it will make the world a better place that will enhance a long-term business performance กลับมาที่คุณภัทรดานะคะเช่นเดียวกันนะคะ
When we talk about sustainable finance, so the same question, we want to know how can it help us achieve low carbon society. Well, imagine the asset size of PTT today. If you look at our balance sheet, you can see that we have 3 million baht in 2024. So if we talk about in 2050, imagine how much we can increase in terms of sustainability and how much assets we should have. This is just asking you to imagine 26 years ago how we're going to be growing twice as much. So we would need a lot more investment. So apart from the business that we're going to invest, we have to consider where we're going to find all those money. This is just an example. Now let's look at two aspects. For bankers, whether it's investors, investing in bonds, or being a financial institute, if you want to give loan, but if the business doesn't have a good business model, it's very difficult for us to approve loan. Actually, we want the interest. K-Bank, like K-Bank say, we want the interest. But if the business model is not right, then it will be difficult. Or as Kun Giorgio has already mentioned, in terms of being in a financial institute in the international level, if they look the criteria that they need to make as the SLL, they need someone to qualify or certify. It has to be rigid. We have to exceed that in order for the foreign investors or international financial institute to accept us. So I would like to separate this into 2 points of view. Since we're talking about sustainability, which is not difficult, so we need to look at ourselves, our business model. So I'm just going to tell you like a story since we're just all GC and PTT. We have been growing alongside with Thailand, talking about clean energy. Where are the clean energy? Is it sufficient enough in Thailand? If you think of clean energy, I don't know what you think of. Do you think of automotive like EV cars? We have to look at the clean energy resource. I think this is a good opportunity for us because if you're talking about Thailand, we cannot talk about coal or fossil. I think clean energy is one of the resources that would create clean energy, and we have gas, but not a lot. We need to import from Southeast Asia and also from other regions as well. So these are investments which PTT is doing in terms of getting the natural gas from importing it so that we can produce energy, so we can have a competitive cost. And if you look at ICAT is doing ENP, and they're investing in carbon capture. ONEP is doing this. They're doing a pilot project. And for OR, which is very close to us, they still a lot of people still use gas in OR gas station. You can see that OR have business that are investing in low carbon, whether it's battery charging. So all of this needs investment. And if you look at GC or Thai Oil, even though they're refinery, they still have to invest to establish a refinery that doesn't need to use fuel oil. And now let's look back at GC. You can see that GC is shift to special chemicals which need a lot of investments. And in some contexts, in the investment like CCUS, we haven't said that we invest. We just want to make a pilot plant. We don't know how much we need to invest and what kind of a business model for this CCUS. If money is not loaned, then we need to mobilize funds from shareholders who expect benefits more than 10%. So there are always costs when you invest in any project. You have to ensure about the return. These things we need a roadmap that align with the goals and timeline. If you do it too fast, the bank might not want a loan. But if you're too slow, then you'll be slower than other people. So how can we allocate this budget into the projects or the low carbon investment at an appropriate time? And then we can use those projects to negotiate with the banks so that to show the banks that we are interested. Like from K-Bank, you mentioned about the SLL. This is one of the examples that we have received a lot of interest, and we will try increase it. For the project on bioplastic and biochemical, these are the two projects that have been supported by Krung Thai Bank. And we're not just talking about loan, but even though depositing, we want sustainable deposit as well. And even SFX, because now the Thai baht currency is not very secure, so we want to lock baht and dollars. So there are all these forward contract currency as well that could link to KPI in terms of SESG. I have to say that it's not difficult. There are many opportunities that we can do, but how can we get the products or the project or the business model that we are interested? How can we match it with the bank goal? So I hope that in terms of developing projects in 1 or 2 years ahead, we would able to move up from Thailand to an international standard. And also, I would like to invite Kun Giorgio to support and sign a lot of contracts for many projects. If we talk about finance and supporting finance, like Kun Patana has already mentioned, that we have to have a very good and clear business model and have to align with the goal and objectives. Now move on to the strategy for all stakeholders to achieve low carbon. So in perspective on engaging stakeholders for sustainable development, what are some effective strategies for engaging stakeholders? When we talk about the link loan, I forgot to tell you that it also regards stakeholders, shareholders, because last August we just went on a roadshow and we met some investors in Europe, in EU, and one of the things the investors asked, they said that they know that K-Bank support the transition to net zero goal, but they said that they want transparency in reporting. They want a more transparency reporting, which means that we have to be able to answer who got our loan and how can they reduce carbon emission. And this is something that that got us to survive because we can prove that we have already done it. So just to let you know that it's not just about the regulations, but even the shareholders are very important as well. And they're becoming more important because if we don't be a company that focus on sustainability, we would lose attractiveness to the investors. So this is something that they ask K-Bank because we are an enabler. And they asked, this is the question they asked. They said that when you give them the loan and have they promise how much they're going to reduce, this is the question that they asked. And this deal with GC has helped us answer these difficult questions. Now, for the stakeholders, as you just asked, we have the customers, we have green finance for customers. And for the 95 trillion baht is the investment from the banks. And if we talk about the employee, we have invited the employees to change their mindset in terms of being more eco-friendly. Like for the rooftop, we focus on installing the solar cell on the rooftop. We have changed 92 branches on the top roof to have solar cells. And for the cars, we focus on EV. We have 250 EV cars. So we have been able to reduce carbon emission by 12.74%. So if we are going to focus on this, we have to be able to measure it. And then we have to compare how much we improve each year. Another aspect is about the regulators and the financial sector. For Kasikorn Thai or K-Bank work with Krungศรี Bank to draft ESG declaration for Thai banks, for Thai Bank Association, which we have draft and has already been announced. And now we are doing an industry handbook for Thailand context. And we also working with the Bank of Thailand on financing the transition. Some things we has changed. We cannot change from damaging the environment to green, but we can gradually reduce it. A gradual transition is possible. So this is something that we are doing with in terms of ecosystem. And for the society, we have innovations that we've been doing, and we have just established the Creative Climate Research Center to build a body of knowledge and teach how to count the carbon credit, how to do the offset. And we work with the Thai CVN and another 22 organizations, domestically and international, from various industries who will be working together to seek approach how can Thailand achieve net zero goal. In terms of the society, there's another aspect that I have just remembered, that we have one building at Siam Square, which we call the Cloud, KL Lao, not Lao like Lisa. So it's K-Lao. We work with GC on this as well. GC help us. We have this building and we want this building to be the role model where everyone have to visit the building. On top, it has a solar rooftop. Cement Thai has helped up on this, and all the energy saving approach, all the construction we have Thai Cement help, but CG has helped us about the zero waste, how we can do waste management in order to achieve zero waste, how to separate wastes, and also to have a small station where the children and the youth can exchange plastic and collect points and redeem gifts. This is what GC has been helping us. These are the things that we contribute to the society. So please visit our building. Is also a co-working space. So you may visit. It's a role model building that I would like all buildings to replicate. We have to all do it together. The answer is we have to work together with all stakeholders. But nevertheless, we have to start with ourselves first. Like for K-Bank, as I have already mentioned, like the solar cell, the EV vehicles, we start with our own operation first. So which means that we have to work with our stakeholders, whether it's the customers, employee, regulator, including the society, to show, like for this K Lao Cloud building. So please visit the building.
What are some effective strategies for engaging stakeholders in sustainable development efforts towards achieving a low-carbon society?
Sure. I think we need to break down who the various stakeholders are. So starting, we already talked about how we engage customers as our stakeholders by working with them on their transition plans. Then there's a critical stakeholder that are our employees. And I'm happy to say that this year, for the first time, we've been awarded the recognition of the best place to work in Thailand, one of the best places to work in Thailand. And what really struck us was in the results, the thing that our employees were most proud of and that really drove their engagement to the firm was the excellent work that we've done over the last few years on corporate social responsibility. And those are activities where there's a huge degree of volunteering from our staff, and it covers reducing deforestation in Thailand, improving food security in Thailand, wildlife population recovering, and promoting sustainable agriculture. That stuff works to really engage and motivate employees as stakeholders. Then, HSBC, we're in 60 markets across the world. We have initiatives to develop green standards and drive practical industry-wide solutions, working with regulators in all these 60 markets. And so that gives us the ability to be able to feed best practice from one market to the other. So that's something that we do. Government advocacy, driving policy change is something that we're very focused on in all the markets that we operate, including Thailand. And then finally, I think one of the things that we've done particularly well is to the point about collaboration, which is we know that we can't do it all ourselves, irrespective of how many markets we're in. And what we've done quite well is work with other players in the ecosystem. So I can give you some examples. One is a project called Pentagreen. This is a joint venture between ourselves and Temasek, the sovereign wealth fund of Singapore. We've each put in $150 million, and it's an off-balance sheet entity that allows us to to be able to finance marginally bankable projects in sustainable infrastructure. Things that we wouldn't be able to do off our own balance sheet because it would be prohibitively expensive from a capital allocation perspective. So that's, again, taking other players, like-minded players, working together with them to do things that we otherwise wouldn't be able to do. Another good example is working with multilateral organizations like the Asian Development Bank on the energy transition mechanism. This is our way to work with the ADB and the governments of Indonesia and the Philippines to set up two funds to early retire coal-fired power stations in those two countries and to replace them with clean energy investments in a way that doesn't take away the power supply that is needed by both of these countries to grow their incredibly successful GDP growth and economic activity in those markets. Another example I'd like to give again is a JV between us and a natural capital asset manager called Pollination. The JV is now called Climate Asset Management. And here really we are looking to develop investment solutions in sustainable forestry, regenerative agriculture, nature-based carbon projects, which basically will allow us to repopulate the nature in, I can't remember how many hectares or acres, but it's really a tremendous thing. And our ambition is to be the biggest natural capital asset manager in the world. We've worked alongside Apple. They have something called the Restore Fund, and we've raised in excess of $1 billion for natural capital projects already. And then lastly, I'd mentioned the Just Energy Transition Partnership. This is again co-working with governments from the West and also the countries Indonesia and Vietnam in order to phase out early fossil fuel power plants and replace them with clean energy alternatives. Again, there's been a commitment of $10 billion, I believe, for Indonesia, $7 billion for Vietnam, and the private sector banks, including us, have chosen to match these commitments. So again, bringing public sector, multilaterals, governments together in order to drive the change as quickly as possible without losing the ability to grow the economies in these important ASEAN markets. Thank you.
Yep. So it's about building strong relationships with stakeholders and taking into account the issues that matter to them, such as the collaboration. เรียนถามคุณพัทรดานะคะคำถามก็คือในเรื่องของกลยุทธ์ที่มีประสิทธิภาพ
I would like to ask the same question, the collaboration of stakeholders in order to achieve low carbon society. Well, we have been here in this symposium many years before, and the obvious example is that the symposium or this meeting creates an obvious vision. What's special is we can have an ongoing operation, and how can we organize a symposium at Siam Paragon, because it's a center of Bangkok, it's a CBD, and it's easy to come here. Everyone can come here, and I can say that we have a lot of progress compared with 7 years ago. And this year, after I visiting each booth, and I can say that many exhibition looks more lively and vivid, and everything is more interesting. So it's engaging Thai society stakeholder or even global stakeholders, because we have international guests as well. And I can say that it's feasible because the product is out there in the market. This is the principal theme. That's why 7S is Gen S established. Last year we introduced Gen S video clip, and I remember the characters, the actors and actresses in the clip. Right now they may be a grown-up already. And from the past years, last year until this year, there are a progress in consumer acceptance. For us, we of course try to find business that meets the world's needs, and banking business are interested in investment, and we also want to support products and service that is aligned with sustainability. We have recycling business, and we want the citizen to be a part of this, participant in this project, so they can submit or take their plastic bottles for recycle with us, and we suggest our partners to use a clear water bottle like this, so it's easy to be recycled. And many banks have supported us. Clients are really interested in this idea. And another effective strategy is we have many parties participating in our exhibition or training or shows like this. They want to visit our business and our company at PTT. We have tulip farm and strawberries farm. What are those? The environment is like being in Europe, but it's actually at the PTT intersection, and 365 years, a whole year round, they can come and test strawberries, and we have customers interested in this. They order a lot of strawberry boxes, and later they're out of the market. We have a lot of them, but a lot more customer needs it. And when we go to the gas refinery, and we use the coldness from the sea to exchange power, exchange heat. If we don't have the strawberry or tulip farm, we have to release it into the sea directly, and the sea animal will be harmed, and the system will be damaged, right? So we kind of need to use this circulation, use this system to make it a little bit warmer. So if everyone have this type of idea, we will be able to establish innovation for our clients, for tourists, and every province in Thailand will be a tourist spot. And coming back to GC has recycled products. You can find all of them outside here. So when we have visitors, I love to take them to see our vendors. And it's like, it's a museum-like. If you have time, please come and visit us. You can go shop at our booth. And I used to have visitors from Thai insurance, around 120 people, and we ran out of stocks. They bought everything. I used to think that recycled products were not attractive, not nice enough, but actually people are interested in this, and we have QR code for them to purchase. They want more and more, so it's good that we create this demand. People see that these recycled products are attractive and trendy, even though they're not cheap. They're quite a little bit pricey, but they're still in demand. So this is called embedding through the products that we use or the idea that we think. If other organizations have this type of symposium, a few weeks ago there was a GSC forum. If many institutions, organizations do this, we all can help echoing this idea into the society, and the consumer will hear about this matter, and we all can collaborate. We can look after the world by using low carbon products. And finally, PTT groups doesn't invest in a separated refinery or gas segregation. We have small startups like Arun Plus and Innobic, which are low carbon organization. And coming back to financing, so we might need some help from the two banks later. We have projects of 300, 500 million baht. It's not and then they ask if we want to know if we should have PTT guaranteed and so on. And we have smaller models, and it suits this low carbon society. But the financing scoring is limited, and we try to go fix about this because the business model, we want the business model to be stable in terms of operation. And if all consumer acknowledge this and the producer produce quality goods, and we have stakeholders who care about this, eventually the stable of profits and income of small business or SME will be more stable, and then bank can release or submit loan. So yes, this is all about clients, entrepreneurs, and banks. This is the world of sustainability. Right, so we need an engagement for our stakeholders and have to show them that we can really do this. This event is obvious proof that GC can conduct the goal of to achieve net zero and achieve sustainability. This is very useful for all of us. If any of you have questions, please submit it on the platform or raise your hand. We are right now in the Q&A question, or you can write it on a piece of paper and our staff will bring you the microphone. Do we have some online questions? You might want to ask about special interest. Ask the banks because many people are curious about that. Or if you have any extra anything to add. Kun Mel just talked about strawberries and tulip. And tomorrow, K-Bank is going to Katina Buddhist ceremony in Rayong, and we would like to go visit the place. And thank you for an encouragement. I just have something a little bit to add. Financial industries are an enabler, and entrepreneurs and clients are also stakeholders, and we all are consumers. And if we are aware of this, we learn to use eco-friendly products. It will be a good reflection back to business, and they can accelerate their operation to achieve net zero and sustainability. So it depends all on us consumers.
I think everything that we've said here and everything that HSBC does is science-based. And what we do know is that the science changes all the time. And so what we thought was a fact 4 years ago is no longer a fact today. And our understanding of this ever-changing landscape is evolving. And so our own policy and approach keeps evolving. And I think we're in the business of being as supportive as we can to all our clients. And like Kun Mao said rightly, where there is a good business model, we will be able to finance it. And it seems to be that there's a natural linkage between the companies that have committed to and have adopted early on their focus on sustainability are actually the ones whose business models are sound. So those two things align very well. Thank you.
Thank you คุณแมวเพิ่มเติมไหมคะพรุ่งนี้นัดไปเจอกันเลยไหมคะ
Are you going to be meeting K-Bank? Yeah, we will be welcoming you. So I think we are just a small individual, but there are so many individuals. So we all would like to see a bright sky. We want to see trees, green trees. We want to see creatures and pleasant environment. So I would like all to see that the fact that we placed interest in ESG, this is not just our responsibility, it's more and beyond than responsibility, but it's our spirit, it's how we have to live our life from today, tomorrow, and after this. If we all work together, I don't know how many population in the world, but if we all work together, I believe that the goal that we have set to reduce global warming, we will definitely see the blue sky, we will definitely see green trees until our next generation. So these are all the knowledge and the what we can do for sustainable finance solution. So I would like to thank the three panelists for giving all your perspective. คุณคัตติยา Mr. Giorgio และคุณภัทรดา May I have a hand for the three panelists? Thank you very much. We have got a lot of information and insights. If you have any other questions, you can discuss with the three panelists later on. Thank you very much. Thank you to Kun Kattiya from K-Bank, Mr. Giorgio. And thanks to Kun Patharada, CF from PTT Company Limited. We have understand more about and we have learned more about sustainable finance solution. Before we enter to the next session, as usual, we have a QR code. If you haven't captured this QR code, please capture it, because I'm going to invite all of you to scan this QR code, or you can capture it first so that you can answer the questionnaire, and we will use this questionnaire to help improve our next events. And filling this questionnaire is one of the ways you can obtain 1 point. And this 1 point, if you have 5 points, you'll be able to receive a special gift, which is the Gen S cushion by our special fiber made from used plastic bottle. This is limited edition. So if you see anybody holding this cushion, that means that they have already got and redeemed that 5 points. 1 point from scanning this QR code. The other 3 points, you still have time because our event ends at 5 o'clock. If you join the activities, and another point, just take a picture of yourself or the event and put it on social media, hashtag GC, hashtag Gen S Gathering, and you receive 1 point from that as well. So if you get 5 points, you can redeem for a very special gift. And the last session is about learning about technology from a showcase a product on green power for all, and to meet the new lifestyle for a sustainable world. I would like to invite Kun Patipan from Huawei Technology Company Limited. Hello. Have a seat here. First of all, I would like to thank Kun Patipan for joining this GC Sustainable Living. We'll be talking about digital technology, which a lot of people are interested in. I need to ask you, starting from the first question, how have you integrated sustainability in your strategy at Huawei? So first of all, thanks GC for giving me this opportunity to present our work and discuss about our plans. Today, Green Power for All is the theme. I will be talking about what Huawei has been doing and answering how we have been working on sustainability. First of all, can I introduce my company? Huawei is a technology company, and we have been operating since 2018. We have been working on technology, but today the technology has come into our daily life, and one of the things that is very significant for green power is the fact about energy. Energy is one of the main factors. This is a fact from ARENA report since 2020, saying that energy generation emits a lot of carbon dioxide, which really impact our world, and is the major factor and contribute to 40% of the emission is in the energy sector. And the second rank is the industrial sector, about 20%, and lastly, transportation sector. So altogether, if the group 1 and group 3 contribute to 60%, which is all about energy and really severely impact the world. So Huawei, once we've seen this fact, we have technology, so we try to establish a company called Huawei Digital Company, which is our new business unit. And this new business unit works on clean energy, or what we call new energy. We have been doing it since, actually the R&D has been established a long time ago, although the business only established in 2021. But we have our R&D center, 12 R&D centers worldwide. And these R&D centers are our sustainability. This is how we can answer which direction we'll be working. How can we answer our clients? How can we drive forward? It starts from researching. Once we conducted the right, correct research, we know the direction we have to head towards. In Huawei, we have a motto. We say that we do a lot of research, but whatever we really apply, we call it half step, leading the market. We are leading the market only for a half step, so that it would be not too far from the consumers and not changing any of the consumers' behavior. This is our direction, how we operate. The answer since today we're talking about the green power, so green power is from past to present. It has a transition from the past. Since before the industrial era, we don't know how to utilize energy, so we burn trees to get heat. These activities do impact the world, but now we have more concerns about clean energy, and we try to use wind energy, solar cell, and these are the things that cannot be controlled. The sun only comes up from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 at night. So how can we sustain all this? This is where Huawei comes in. We come in to meet the demands of the suppliers like PTT in order to drive towards a sustainable world and meet the demands about energy. Since we know that energy is the major factor that contributes to harming the world, then we need to find a solution. So our mission is to promote technology, and Huawei has established Huawei Digital Power, which is a new business unit focusing on clean energy. And you've seen that sustainability has to start from research. So you have utilized your sustainability in all your operation. But now let's talk about some case studies. The achievement in terms of technology to promote sustainability in Huawei business. Can you tell us about some of the case studies? Today we're doing the showcase, so I'll be raising a lot of samples, but maybe start from one simple image. This talks about clean energy in one town or in one city. In one city, we have to focus on the things that we can develop. So it's separated into utilities. First of all, is energy production, how we can regenerate clean energy. Secondly is the EV charging station, which is another factor that contributes to the carbon emission as well in terms of logistics. So Thailand, we see the problem. We don't know whether we should have EVs charging station first or to have EV vehicles first. And lastly is ICT or data center. So for the data center, it utilizes high energy. It consumes a lot of energy. So if it uses a lot of energy, it emits more emission. It doesn't mean that it's bad, because ICT actually, it helps leverage other systems in the society in order for other systems in the society to increase the efficiency. And at the end of the day, those activities reduce the emission. But the data center, of course, consumes a lot of energy. And these are the three main areas that I will be talking about today. So first of all, the first examples to show that Huawei is leading in this field. So I'm going to raise a very simple energy, which is Huawei Green Living. This solution for households. This picture here shows the products that Huawei has for one household. For a house to become a smart home. And at the same time, meet the goal of sustainable and clean energy. So we have a solar cell, a smart module, solar cell on the roof. We are able to overcome a lot of obstacles. Our engineer technology has passed the standards. So for the solar cells that are installed on the roof, it's actually quite dangerous, because if you compare it with other electrical appliances, if you turn off those electrical appliances where there is TV refrigerator, that's safe because there are no electricity going through it. But if we talk about the solar cell on the roof, it's connected on the roof, even though you're not using it, but it's still on that roof. And as long as there are sun, then the solar cell will generate electricity, which means that even though you turn off, you don't want to use it, but at the end of the day, when there's any kind of incident or any tragedy happens to the house, the firefighters cannot do their job. And that is why the Engineer Association of Thailand tried to have these standards, and we have the solution to meet these standards. So in any incident, we can cope with it. And our system, we have designed not so that it would be any incident happen, but to prevent it. And the sunlight that helps generate electricity, we cannot use it at night. So we have what we call the battery to capture the energy from daytime to be used during nighttime. And this is a concept to trying to find solution that we can maintain clean energy all day round. Homes and household are the group that consumes about 25% energy in Thailand. So if we can help, then we might be able to achieve net zero as well. I have one sample to show you how Huawei is very focused in all the details in terms of safety. First of all, our products. It might look same as other products compared to other brands, but the difference is we are durable to any kind of weather, whether it's very hot, extreme cold. We have tested it so that we ensure that it can stay in heat up to 58 degrees Celsius, or if there's any dusts, it is durable through dust. It can still be protected. Or if you can even try putting into water, you can see it's water resistant as well. This is to show you. It shows that it's in the water for 72 hours. And some of you install this energy solar battery system. You might install it near the car park, which there is a possibility in case you're very tired and you might hit your car on the battery, but our system can stand 5 tons pressure, which is enough for any kind of accidents. Or if you're afraid of we have even very detailed in terms of selecting all the cells in the battery. We ensure that it will not be any fire. Like if we drill into it, like for that sample that we tested by drilling it, the system can take in all this pressure and eliminates all the oxygen so that there will be no fire. So this all has been designed. And also the roof, when there's fire and the firefighters cannot do it because there are electricity running on the roof. But our system will never have fire, and we have tested by burning the house, and we let the firefighter do their work, and it shows that they can do their work safely. This actually happened. One of the firefighters had to died from trying to work on a situation where there are solar cells. So this is what our solution would help. This is about the arc for electrical wire on the roof. It has to be there 20 years, 30 years. It might deteriorate from sun, water, and that might increase or happen in terms of fire incidents. Our system can detect and we can address that problems. So these are simple examples on how Huawei can help in terms of household. So if these problems are not addressed, then we will not be able to have all this system. But since we have this solution, then at the moment there are 50 to 60 households that have solar roof, and I'm hoping that it would increase. and we are trying to prevent it so that the people would not hesitate to install all these solar cells, or even within the house, we have to ensure safety with all the applications. Next, it's about businesses might want to reduce electricity fee and want to use clean energy. So we have models for businesses as well. I have a showcase here to show you. This is a city in Saudi Arabia. This is they thrive for 100% clean energy, which is very challenging. It's near to impossible because wind and sun is not something that we can control. So 100% clean energy is impossible. So this is the first time in the world to have a city that is 100% clean energy from the sun. And this is not... this can take about 1 million population. And this is like a pilot city. And I know that this year a lot of cities trying to replicate this role model. And even in Thailand, they are trying to replicate this kind of situation in Saudi Arabia to be a city that uses 100% clean energy. And another example in Thailand, which is Samui Island. Samui Island is a tourist destination which consumes energy from the mainland, and it has this cable under the sea to generate electricity on the island. And on the island, the business has grown rapidly until one day they found that this cable wire under the ocean cannot distribute more electricity from the mainland, which means that the island will not have enough electricity. So they have to look for other options, whether to have more cables under the water or to find alternative solution. So the electricity authority tried to find an energy solar system on the island, because on this island, because actually on this island, the high consumption of electricity is only during the afternoon. But after midnight, actually the consumption is very low, and the cable under the water is sufficient enough to send electricity from mainland to the island. And then once they send it during the night, it's captured and collected during the night. And then during the peak hour, then it can use all this electricity that has been collected. So this is a solution that they try to expand to other islands as well to use this approach. So it will become a smart grid, which is a solution for sustainability. And last example is about the EV charging station. This is very difficult to see whether the car should come first or to have the EV charging station first. But if the EV comes first, then we will not have enough station, especially during holidays. So that make people hesitate to buy EV vehicles. And if not enough people buy EV vehicles, then investors don't want to invest in EV station. So it's like a problem which one should come first. So Huawei try to find a sustainable solution. This video that will be shown is to show how it can charge, which means that in 5 minutes, they can charge electricity for 500 kilometers. And now the EV vehicles has developed to this point now. Apart from that, what we have already have this fast charging system, it might affect the electricity network, because when one car do this fast charging, the electricity network would be disrupted. So we try to find a solution for this, to have a battery system that can generate electricity from solar cell. So it would enable fast charging and not interrupt or disrupt the electricity network. So these are the examples. These are all new knowledge for me. I've never learned all this before. It is a really advanced technology and one of the achievements for sustainable technology. As you can see, all the examples, the Huawei Green Living Smart Home for Household. This is very close to us because everybody has to live in a house. So it would be great if we have a house that is a smart home and focus on sustainability and safety. Comes to the last question. In terms of your perspective for sustainability, what do you think is your advantage and disadvantage? Huawei came into Thailand since 1999, so it's been 25 years since. The thing that Huawei has been doing is try to grow in Thailand alongside with our partners. Our partner has to meet our mutual goal. We have to grow alongside each other. It's like we are a family that we help each other. We might have different methods from other companies, international company coming in. This proved that the first stakeholders, which are partners, we have to grow alongside them. Even in other businesses, when there are many partners, if one company try to bring in solutions and they want high margin, then they might cut the price. This is something that will not happen to Huawei. We do everything alongside the partners, or even promoting education. Huawei has our own Thailand Academy established with the mission that in 2025 we have to achieve training to people separately into 4 groups. First, the leadership group. So training leadership, how to be a leader. And second group is the creator, developer, people who would be the head of the development. And number 3 is the practitioner. So all the mechanics, the technicians who works. And then the last is the users. In these 4 groups, we are committed to have 100 graduates next year. Now we have achieved 96,000. And we try to focus on the digital power sector, which is the third group, and that's the practitioner, which I think is very important. There are the technicians who install all the systems. To every system, we work with the labor development, skill development, so that we would be able to upskill them, at least 10,000 of them, to meet the growing demands of clean energy. These are the things that we are contributing for Thailand. And this is how you work with all your stakeholders, like collaboration, which is very important. As you say, you have been in Thailand for 25 years, but this growth, the most important thing is to grow alongside with your partner, and the partners are the stakeholders. And these stakeholders have to have mutual objectives as well. And you have already raised examples about the academy. Where is it? It's a network. It's in our headquarters, G Tower, near Central Param Kao. So this academy, they train 4 groups of people, focus on the third group, which are the practitioner, because they're they play pivotal role in our system to create sustainability and to create products that meets the demands or the needs of today's world, which are looking for green environment. So we have got a lot of knowledge from you and a lot of insights. I'm not sure whether any of you have any questions. You can raise your hand and our staff will take a microphone for you. Do any of you have questions? We're just showing you that we have the microphone. You can write some question on the paper if you have any questions. Yes? Or you can just write your questions if you're watching online. Okay, we have a question, please.
I also would like to learn more about Huawei technology. Can JC go study your work in Huawei? Can we go to China as well? It would be our pleasure. You're very welcome. Well, in Thailand, I have to say that at the TSIC, our innovation hub in Thailand is still in the renovating process, and in the beginning of next year it will be ready. But in China, we will have our staff contacting you soon. You're not joking, right? Okay, okay, I'll go with you. Yes, for me, was very surprised and about the video presentation. Of course, I think there are some groups of people who have visited our hub before. And any more questions? So when are you traveling to China? Or, you can mark your calendar and we can talk about this. And I really want to say Huawei has done awesomely in establishing innovation and advanced technology. It helps our society, and people would like to thank our CEO, the CEO of Huawei, to share great ideas how to operate business sustainability for our Gen S. Thank you very much. This is another fun session, and I hope to talk to you again in the near future. So for all 4 sessions of this afternoon, I hope you have gained some more knowledge and insight, and most importantly, collaboration is what we have to conduct, because everyone, no matter how old we are and what background we're from, we are all Gen S. We can adjust our habits. We can learn to go green together. Please look at the screen. You can scan the QR code. And please answer GC survey. You can take a photo of this QR code first, or use your mobile phone, mobile device to scan the code. You can collect the point. And if you receive all 5 points, you can receive Gen S pillow, which is created from recycled fibers from used plastic bottles. 100% from used plastic bottles. You can collect it near the entrance and exit area. Thank you all honorable guests and participants to come and show your interest in sustainability. Thank you everyone, and I hope to see you soon. We all can collaborate in creating green world. Thank you.